My God, we're at the fucking end of the game, guys.
Yeah.
We're at the fucking end.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Also, the fact that they were in the Hudson River and then they crash and land on Federal Hall is physically impossible.
It's weird that like
They're physically impossible.
I never considered that.
They had to have
not even once. Like, why didn't I think of that? That's impossible.
They would have had to gone. Federal Hall. It is off. It is off the river, but like well inland. It is not like it's not easy for them just to like crash into it.
Where are the Twin Towers located? Were they located? Are they? They're pretty far in too, as well.
They're like they would be on the other side of the island. So if this is on the east side of the island, they would be on the west side of the island.
Okay.
Okay. I was gonna say I remember them changing
right
parts of it because it came out around 9/11.
Right. So this is after 9/11. So they actually had to. They originally had images of the Twin Towers at this point, and again because this was supposed to be called Metal Gear Solid 3 with the Twin Towers in the logo, they had to remove all the references to the Twin Towers.
God damn it! I would have loved if they did that.
I mean, just right off the bat, they really wanted to fuck with everyone's mind.
Hotline Miami missed that opportunity with their second game, wrong number.
Oh, yeah?
Somebody told them afterwards they should have called it Hotline Miami 3, wrong number.
Oh, my God. That's a pretty good pun, though.
Yeah.
So, so this wasn't supposed to be in the game. This is actually added as a concession to the player to give some sort of satisfaction, because Kojima was like, I can't fuck with them this much and just end the game without a boss fight.
Let you beat something.
Right. I think this is one of those situations, this hasn't been confirmed, but in my opinion, this is one of the situations where the production team sat down with him and is like, Kojima, you really, like, please give us a boss fight. We have to have something.
Have mercy on us, Kojima.
I think it would have been more interesting if they just ended it.
Well, yeah, I mean, after the fact, though, Josh, how pissed off would you have been
I would
during
have
the
been
first
so
gameplay?
fucking angry.
As a kid and a player at the time, yes. And my age now, I would totally appreciate it.
Oh my God! And we're getting to the biggest info dump in the entire game. Into the series until we get to Metal Gear Solid 4.
This is the most relevant info dump too, the most prophetic almost.
Well, yeah, I mean they were using the phrase meme before it was like before even like the internet
was
wasn't
just coined around the time.
Well, no, this is kind of before that.
Well, this is before it became internet meme. When it was Richard Dawkins meme.
Right. This is where Kojima actually had to do research reading the Selfish Gene to get the idea of what a meme is.
That's insane.
Yeah, he actually meant it like in the actual like
information being passed on just like genetics, but being selected by the populace, which creates this sort of what is really true if people are getting to decide what is true. I don't know. This is some great stuff.
This is getting some really serious stuff too. I mean, like the whole idea of the first game is about what is passed on through genes, as in DNA, like the idea of Liquid and Snake being clones of the big boss. So are they inherently evil like he supposedly was and doomed to make the same mistakes he was, or if they're going to change that? And so this game is all about what is passed on through ideological and cultural means, like the knowledge and information given to us. Can Raiden, even though he was raised as a killer, is he going to continue to be a killer because that's what was done to him? Or now that he's given a second chance, is he going to succumb to the memes and information that's given to him and continue to be that, or make his own identity? And it's kind of, even broader than that. Then it's implied, like the idea of memes and cultural information. We're going to talk about junk data in just a second.
This is the most beautifully written part of the whole game, I think. I love it.
I feel like the game was almost written just for this scene.
Yeah.
And I mean, oh my God, it's just so creepy. And again, my favorite part is like the stuff with I Need Scissors 61. When I was already sold, but when Colonel's face turns into a skeleton, my fucking God. I mean, I'm part of the show. We're doing the show. I mean, it got me hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, you really feel like you're playing a horror game.
Yeah, the only thing I could compare this to at the time would be Silent Hill 2, when the game goes completely insane at the end, because you're going insane in that game. But this one, the thing is, it works on different levels though, because it's got the whole commentary of being a sequel to a sequel, and it's also talking about memes and culture and manipulation of society from shadow organizations and controlling the culture through data. I mean, talking about making the masses lazy and, passive. I mean, I even think they say the whole thing about like religion being the drug of the masses, but instead of this, it's data, that we're using data to distract ourselves so we don't rise up against something like the Patriots.
Well, even then, like, I don't even necessarily see the Patriots as bad because what they're saying here kind of makes sense. Like when, like, I think Colonel at one point even says you're not qualified to decide like anything.
Raiden absolutely is the bad guy in this story because he allows things to continue just so he can claim his own identity. He actually kind of screws up. Metal Gear Solid 4 is only possible because of the decisions that Raiden makes in this game.
Trivial information is accumulating every second. Pervert.
What sort of decisions should he have made that would have been best? Like, I'm trying to think of at what turn he could have changed what he was doing.
Some people think that he should have let Solidus do what he was doing.
Like, but Solidus wants to kill you, so you should have let Solidus kill you?
No, he could have just escaped with Snake.
Oh, I see.
He should have just left with Snake and let Solidus do his thing. That's what some people think.
It's that age-old... you see the same thing in like the AC games about like the Templars and the Assassins, freedom versus order.
Right.
And like they both have really good points. So it's really hard to say like, well, the Patriots are wrong or like Solidus is wrong.
Unless you get to some Metal Gear Solid 4 when it's very cut and dry. These are the bad guys, these are the good guys.
Yeah.
Humanely murder other humans.
Rights of criminals are given more respect than the privacy of their victims.
I mean, playing this for the first time, you're actually... And that's the other thing, too, that I actually think holds up, rather than like the controversy about Raiden being a loser and people being upset with Raiden. That was kind of a myth that wasn't real. But people being weirded out and fucking screaming at the television at the end of this game, I think that's very real.
Yeah, this is all talking
valid.
to the this is talking to the player right now.
Yeah.
Because it's such a downer. Because you're at the end of the game and you're like, yeah, fuck you guys, and then you're like, wait, but fuck who? Like, who should I be telling to fuck off? Because it sounds like I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm the bad guy. That's really frustrating. What am I supposed to do? I know, like, I don't know.
So what? I'm the bad guy?
So what? You
Should I
trying to
just
say there's
quit?
something wrong with me?
So fuck me? Fuck you! Growing cesspool of society at large. And it's also weird that it's Rose. It's Rose telling you this. And like I said, are you supposed to like her? Is she supposed to be the voice of reason? What's the real Rose and what's the fake Rose? Is there a fake Rose? Is there a real Rose?
I think it's really weird is that the moment she switches over is right after a really intimate conversation where she says, please trust me. Please trust me because I think we should be together. And then this happens, and you're like, what? What do I believe?
And it's also weird that they're using Colonel as well, because Colonel was your point of contact, so it's supposed to be that there's that familiarity there, and that you trust him. But if you pay attention to Metal Gear Solid 1, he was lying to you the entire time.
Yeah.
And remember, we were playing Metal Gear Solid 1 the entire time. We were going, fuck you, Colonel, you're a dick.
Who else could wade through the seas of garbage you people produce? Like, the shit he's saying, like, you're not exactly wrong.
Yeah.
If you've been on the internet lately.
So that's really cool too, is that he said, I'm going to decide what I'm going to choose. And they actually say,
you like the qualifications to exercise free will.
But it's also true, because, I mean, like he says, is that your own idea? Is that the idea that Snake told you? And then Raiden has nothing to say to that.
Right.
I mean, even at this point, when we're interacting with the game and we're being like, well, I believe this. Well, like, you're right. This is all true. But then again, is that our idea, or is that Kojima's idea that he's telling us? Mm-hmm. Like, we aren't really supposed to just absorb this and be like, yeah, this is all true. It's just saying, just fucking think about it. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't necessarily true, and it's not necessarily right or wrong. I just want you to think about it.
Which is why it's so ambiguous in the end of the
Exactly.
game.
But it's frustrating because Raiden doesn't necessarily like argue very well.
Well, yeah. Well, he's
just like, no.
That's where like
Shut up.
That's dumb.
That's where it's kind of
dumb.
like, yeah, they're kind of right. And you don't want to say that. You don't want to think that because that's uncomfortable.
I don't think they're completely right. I think that there's a medium there. But I think
They're talking about Reddit right now. That's what they're talking
yeah,
about.
It's pretty much, fucking dead on Reddit.
absolutely.
I think it's supposed to be the idea that Raiden is just flustered. Like, he just doesn't know what to do. He can't process it at this point.
Well, I mean, understandably so, considering everything.
It's like human psychology, philosophy, all sorts of shit going on here.
In a video game, in an action male fantasy video game.
Yeah, this is when it all jumped way over my head when I was younger. I still am trying to wrap my head around a lot of it.
It's kind of weird that this ending is very similar to the ending of Matrix Revolutions, where you go in and there's the architect, and you're in the white room, and he's just like, Neo, everything you thought was true is wrong. Here's what's really going down, and he gives you a huge info dump. But I mean, it's almost the exact same ending, but I just think this one is so much better, so much better executed. Because that ending feels like a cheat. Whereas the way that he's played this story, that there's been frustrations and mistrust, and he's been sowing the seeds that things aren't what you think they are for so long, that this actually seems right. Like, it feels right that everything that you've been thought was true is wrong, because you kind of suspected that.
Of course, anything can be quantified nowadays. That's what this exercise was designed to prove.
And again, he's also telling you that the whole thing that Solidus told you about that being the Solid Snake simulation that's not even true.
To say the least.
We rule an entire
That's
nation.
weird.
Of what interest would a single soldier, no matter how able, be to us?
So according to them, not even Ocelot was given the truth,
Snake simulation.
which might be misinformation.
I don't know. I always think of Ocelot. He's always knows far more than anyone else.
So the selection of societal sanity, this whole conspiracy theory about things, shadowy organization and world control, and the world virtually coming to an end because of just some weird concept, is a reference to Dr. Strangelove, where it's a Kubrick movie where the world is at the brink of Cold War because one United States general thinks that the communists have basically poisoned him, and he's impotent because of a communist plot, because he can't get an erection. It has to be because of the communists. And so he launches a nuke to foil the communists, and he calls it, this password for it is the preservation of our precious fluids. And it's this really crazy, he's basically insane, but the feel of that is exactly like this. And the way he explains it to the other characters is exactly how Colonel's explaining it to Raiden right here. And of course, we're going to see a lot more Strangelove references in Peace Walker.
For the exercise.
I wonder
Shadow
if you
Moses.
preferred a fantasy setting.
See, they're talking about
The fantasy
the
setting.
simulation.
Yeah.
We chose that backdrop because of its
Extreme circumstances.
It was an optimal test for S3's crisis management.
I mean, you could also make the argument that the whole Metal Gear Solid 1 was a simulation that Raiden was experiencing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Metal Gear Solid 1's a remake of Solid Snake. Shit, the whole game's a fucking simulation. What if that's the ending of the Phantom Pain?
Oh, God.
What if the ending of Phantom Pain is Big Boss's memories uploaded into the AI core, and then they implanting all of his memories into a bunch of guys in VR shells?
Maybe that's what his horn is it's...
Oh yeah, what if it's a receiver that's
that's recording all of his memories?
Oh man, Phantom Pain predictions abound.
It's hard to tell, man. There's some weird shit going on. It's hard to tell if he's just fucking with us or if it's just the game part of the game.
Well, the thing
It's
is,
like he picks flowers in the most recent demo and they warp away like some digital hologram. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, but fair enough. This is all fake, and what they're saying is true. Why are they taking the time to tell Raiden that?
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Why would they even fucking bother? They think he's a peon, and they're just like, you are an idiot. You don't have any responsibilities because we don't trust you with anything because you're so dumb and you don't have the qualifications. But we're going to explain everything to you.
Is it supposed to be that Rose? Because she loves him, quote unquote, loves him, that she's telling him all this?
But she's a robot. She doesn't give a fuck.
They're not talking to him. They're talking to the player.
Yeah, that's true. Meanwhile, Solidus...
This is all for you, not for Raiden.
Solidus is just sitting on the other side of the ship, with the swords going, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, no, he's just like,
They're
God, what's
taking
taking
forever.
so goddamn long?
Is this guy going to get up or what? Why is he's got his hand in his ear? I don't know.
Raiden's just sitting in the corner squatting, getting his health back.
Power squatting.
We accept it. So this is why they chose him, because he's such an obedient lapdog. Kind of like Solid Snake was in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Is a resounding success.
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you that GW was...
Yeah, but there was a moment, just like in Metal Gear Solid 2, in
When?
Metal Gear Solid 1, where Snake says no to the player.
Yeah, that's when Gray Fox is pinned by the Metal Gear, and he says, just shoot me. We can't do it.
Can't do it.
No, I can't do it.
So, I mean, same. I mean, Even that's the same.
But the idea in this game is that Raiden tries to make the same decision, but it doesn't work out for him. And even in the logic of Metal Gear Solid 4, knowing what happens to him, it really does not work out. Like, things really do not work out for Raiden.
Yeah.
Through doing what I'm told. But he does it like in a temper tantrum.
Aren't you forgetting something?
If you die, my child dies.
The termination of vital signals from your nanomachines means
That's
the
fucked up.
death of Olga's child.
Man, it'd been
So that
interesting
is
if they
true.
did Rising. Like, Rising's original plot was supposed to be how Raiden went to rescue Sonny.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
God, I really still don't understand why Ola died so gruesomely. It's just so bizarre.
Don't you believe
Believe
me?
me.
It will be a fight.
Oh, there's the camera angle change.
Solidus at least wants you dead.
We will collect the necessary.
I love that. It's just going random.
Then we'll consider the exercise closed. So, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, so they want the fight, so why are they telling them all the information? Because they just want them to fight. Like, they were going to fight anyway. They didn't have to stop them.
Yeah.
Our beloved monsters.
Our beloved monsters. Enjoy
Yeah.
yourselves.
So again,
God, that smile. Ugh.
so it's supposed to be even worse than Solid and Liquid, who have inherited the genes. It's Raiden was made. He was it's kind of like the genome soldiers who were infused with something. Raiden was his basically his mind was infused with these ideas of him being a bloodthirsty killer.
Shaped by a dark and secret history.
I mean,
Is he wearing fishnet
Which monster
what?
will have the privilege of surviving?
on his arms?
Raiden?
What, Raiden?
No. Solidus.
Oh, it's a textured. It's supposed to be like a textured armor.
He likes to feel sexy.
Dun dun dun.
Whoa, 2 exclamation points. Damn.
Sword
Man,
fight,
it's just
motherfucker.
twist after twist.
Raised you as a soldier in the army of the devil.
Does this sound familiar?
I am your foster.
This is exactly what Frank Yeager did to Naomi.
Oh, right.
Because I needed to know whether we were really someone else's creation.
But he didn't raise her as a soldier.
Yeah, that's why it's more fucked up. And it was supposed to be that Solidus is just doing it because he thought it was interesting. Like he thought it was like a cool experiment.
Liquid and Solid hunted down
There's
Big Boss.
You'll stay in the endless loop.
What a
Your
cool
own
illustration of
double
him.
heat.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, he looks like a scruffy old man in that picture, though.
I know, I like it.
It's time we were both free.
You know, I have to say though,
He just stands there. Huh.
that was a good shot.
Real close to my wiener.
It's a
That was a
blade.
little too close to my wiener.
That was a
Solidus.
little too like Vamp there, pulling it from the middle of his legs.
Yeah.
Ass shot. I did think that this fight was pretty cool. I mean, I had
This
my
fight's
problems.
fun.
Yeah, I had my problems with it. I mean, it's so cheesy and it's silly, but it actually, I remember
Swords are so much more interesting than guns.
it's one of those fights where like, I know that I shouldn't like it, but it was just like after all the craziness and I had come so far, like on the scale of hating this game to fucking falling in love with it, that I was just like, at this point, I was just giddy. I was like, I'm just mindlessly enjoying myself.
Have you played this fight before?
Yeah, I played through this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a tough battle.
It is. It is. I kind of because the controls are a little weird. That's your John Woo moment of the doves.
Yeah. I think part of it is also that he has a pattern that you have to get
Why
used
is there
to.
like a little mouth plate that clicks shut?
Protect his mouth, man.
We're at the fucking conclusion of Metal Gear Solid 2. Who else is rock hard? Dora? Dora, you rock hard?
the most rock hard I've ever been.
Full mast over here.
She's got a full chub.
Chubbing it up. So all this
it's-
is chubbing.
So can I tell my story around this fight?
Yeah.
Nope.
I have a really good story around this fight.
Moving
When-
on. Dora's, Dora, shut up for a second. So Josh, you see you're wearing some like interesting shoes there.
Fuck both of you. Oh,
This is a men's conversation because this is a men's game. So
I'm the one playing it, so
let's ignore that for the moment.
my
right,
story
Dora.
is
All right, go on.
that when I was a kid, when we first got this game, me, my brothers, and cousins all gathered around and we all played it together. And I was one of the youngest, and so I didn't actually get to play. So I was watching.
What's wrong with you?
They got to this point. Like I think we played through it in one sitting. And they got to this point, and no one could beat him. Like,
Really?
no one. Like, none of my brothers could beat him. None of my cousins could beat him. And I said, well, let me try, because we exasperated, like, everything we could. And
Your last
I was
option.
the last resort, and they were like, fuck, fine, like, go for it. and I beat him in one go.
That's fucking
And I hadn't
awesome.
played the game at all.
Did you feel
That's
like the
fucking
king of
awesome.
everything?
Yeah.
I did. I felt awesome.
Did you feel like Raiden at
it
that
was
point?
like
Did you walk away like, yeah, you're welcome?
Did you drop the mic, like drop the control like a mic, and be like, I'm out?
I didn't drop the controller, but I felt like it was like I won something.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's
won.
the way it felt.
You won life.
I did.
Yeah, that's the best feeling when you're
You
a kid.
showed up everybody around you
Yeah.
and beat Solidus on your first go.
That's the best feeling.
But I was like sitting there, like I think and it seems unrealistic, but the reason I actually got it, and let me, triangle. The reason I got it was because I was reading like the patterns of him. Like I was just sitting there like watching the way that he did it, and I was like, oh, I think I know how to do this. And they showed me how to do the sword, and I figured it out, I guess.
Man, he's so fucking pumped that he's blowing off his Dr. Octopus tentacles.
This part gets weird because he just shoots all over the place with his.
He just goes fucking nuts.
Well,
You have
what-
to like watch his little trail of fire.
Yeah. That's so weird with the rocket boots. I mean, like, I always thought the rocket boots were silly, but again, I guess I was just on a high. Like, it was delirious about how cool this game was getting. I even thought the flame rocket boots were kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're nothing but mere weapon.
She has no pupils. I never noticed that before.
Yeah, she was definitely fucking a robot. It's just weird. I think she's supposed to have really light blue.
No, she has no black though.
Like nothing in the center.
There's nothing. Like she's glitching out just at like Colonel is.
Yeah, you're right. She's like, at least from here.
Yeah.
She used to have.
There
There
it
she
is.
goes.
There she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the? There it goes again. What the hell?
So she is a computer 100% at this point.
Well, it's fucking... It's not clear if she's the real Rose or... Yeah, it's a mindfuck.
The message at the end, does
Yeah.
it even matter?
It doesn't matter.
It's so annoying.
Like, yeah, does it even matter that none of this is real? Did it feel real? Because if it felt real, then it was real.
Dora, does your chub feel real? So, Josh, I mean... Just talking about the mechanics of this, how weird is it that it's a fucking sword battle and Metal Gear game? There's never been a sword battle
That's
before.
true, that's pretty weird.
And I don't think there's ever been a sword battle after this.
No? But, god damn it, I love sword fights.
It's just a strange thing to have in the middle of a Metal Gear game. And it's also like you're on a roof, like you're on top of the Metal Gear and Metal Gear Solid 1.
Damn it.
Fighting another Snake or Big Boss clone.
Swords are also more personal. You have to get up close to somebody to use them. I don't know. Guns are just boring.
I really like the sprites. I like the sparks that come off the swords. That he has electricity coming off of him. I guess it reminds me of like Highlander. Remember the big battle at the end of Highlander when they're fighting and all the sparks are coming off the swords and they're all supercharged?
I actually don't.
Well, you should check it. Just YouTube the ending fight, and it's kind of similar to this. But with the Queen soundtrack.
Shit.
Good lord, Dora! You are fucking rocking house. You're wrecking shit.
She channeled her younger self.
Yeah,
did.
you can do it. Fucking cool.
It's like the coolest thing that ever happened to me as a kid. That was it. That was my high point.
Was that a playground story you told?
Yeah, I was like
got it for
at
the
the
day.
jungle gym.
Yeah.
Like,
I beat Solidus my first
Oh my
try.
god,
Just
look at all
circle
that.
people.
That is such like a samurai movie.
oh, it
Yeah,
definitely
a samurai
is.
movie. Again, with
blood.
the action tropes and, filmic references.
Yeah.
But Dora, just like you showed up all your brothers and cousins and mic dropped, you realize that this is the end of your tenure.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
This is
the last of me playing, guys.
that's the last playthrough. Thank you for. I'm gonna give you.
Thank you.
If you can't see me right now, but what I'm doing is I'm giving Dora the old big boss salute at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3.
I'm giving her the pretty good.
Thanks. Wow, those are such high honors, guys.
That's high praise. Yeah, this is supposed to be. Wasn't he supposed to fall on an American flag or something?
I should have said, Dora, you're pretty good.
You're pretty good. Man, this is such like
Oh,
a.
the music.
This is such
so
like a
good.
Michael Bay, John Woo moment.
That music, like Dora said, though, man, gets me.
Fuck, love that music. Did you say, Josh, you hum it around the apartment?
Yeah, I'll just...
Gregson Williams for you guys. That patriotic America fuck yeah music.
It's so patriotic, and
Yeah.
I don't even know why.
That
It just
pose.
is.
Actually, I was looking into it on Team America. He wasn't even the original composer. They actually added him on later on in production to make the music even more patriotic. So there you go.
There you go. I guess he just knows how to do it. You
Yeah.
know, make patriotic music.
So just real quick, there's actually a thing that Kojima says about that ending part where Snake gets out of the handcuffs. He actually says it's supposed to be a metaphor that Snake was able to get out of the handcuffs and chase Liquid because he's already fought against the programming in his genes. Like he's reinvented his identity, so he's free to chase Liquid because he already has his own identity.
Oh.
He's broken away from he says like the handcuffs of his genes that passed on from Big Boss.
And Raiden doesn't because he spent the whole game wanting to be Snake.
Exactly.
And
That's
training to be
exactly what it
Snake.
is. Yeah, he still has to prove himself against Solid, who's his father.
Which this is
Solid
the
is-
final like.
Solid is his father.
Well, yeah, because he raised him.
Oh, I see.
He's
what
the one
you're
that turned
saying.
him to
Sorry, I
Jack
thought you
the
were talking about snakes now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Solid is Snake had to prove himself against Big Boss and Big Boss's legacy, whereas Raiden has to prove himself against Solidus, and so now he's able to become his own person.
No one's like,
And this is
who's
where he
that guy
discards
in the
the player.
skull suit?
Yeah.
The guy's dressed all
Well,
weird.
I think it's supposed to be that he's not really there.
Is that what it is?
It's either that he's not really there or he's in the Matrix where no one sees him.
Hey, who's that guy with the sword on his
He
back?
appeared out of fucking nowhere.
Are burdens you had to carry. It doesn't matter if they were real or not.
That's never the point, whether it was real or not.
Yeah.
His bandana does glitch out quite
He
a bit.
glitches the fuck out. That's how you know it's the Matrix.
Yeah.
Sometimes it floats down really slowly like a cobweb.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the whole thing where like fucking Kojima is actually saying flat out, don't think about it too hard.
It's like some brain in the vat Matrix shit.
Yeah.
Like,
He's actually just saying like, don't think about this game too hard, like the logic of it. Just think about the message.
you know, the experience you had.
Yeah, just trying to remember that feeling of distrust and questioning what you're going through. Did you like? Why did you not enjoy this game? Or if you thought this game was frustrating and wasn't what you expected, why was that?
It's pretty interesting to think about. The PBS game show guys. Jamin did an episode about called "Are Game Experiences Real Experiences?" And his argument is yes, they are.
Because we respond emotionally to them. Is that what their idea was?
I actually haven't watched that episode,
Oh, okay.
but he's talked about it in other episodes. Like, I can't really like, not even having watched it. I've already sort of felt that anyway. Like, I take these memories and these experiences with me from these games. I feel real emotions, and I feel like sometimes, depending on the game and how well it's executed, I feel like I'm there. Like Dark Souls specifically. Like, I like being in Lordran. It feels like it has a sense of place. And my experience with that has been real, just like the experience we've had with this has been real.
I guess my problem, I mean, he is actually explicitly saying that he's being reborn and he's re-identifying himself. And even right here, our dog, I forgot about that. Raiden is throwing Josh, Dora, and I away. He is lifting himself from the labels that we have placed on him and becoming some mythical person that we don't even know who he is.
And now he's free to let her rip.
He's going to rip a fat one.
I just think it's really interesting that Kojima was talking about
Although Raiden never does pick his own name. Go on.
things like Reddit, even though before Reddit was a thing. I think that he was like this sort of place where these messages are sent and people are like certain messages are hailed on high, like, and everyone mutually agrees, even if everyone's like, people are afraid to speak up if they don't agree. And I just think that it's a huge message in this is just to question things that you read and don't just follow things just because the majority of people believe them. You should really try to think for yourself. And I think that that's obviously a problem today. I mean, if you think
Like
about
the nobody's invalidated, but nobody's right.
the bullying that happens online, especially on Reddit and things like that. Like, Reddit really hates bullying, but they'll still do it as long as everyone is, I don't know. It's just really strange. I just think it's really cool that he was talking about this in 2001. It's really crazy.
I think it's weird. I like how he takes it away from it at the last second. Also, this is what happens at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3 at Snake Eater with the Legacy. But we'll get into that again later about getting the wrong disc or film. I think it's weird though that he at the end of the game says it's not not reality that matters. It's how you experience it and how you feel. But I think that's complicated with the whole thing about memes.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, it's what we're told to feel about it. I mean, like it's more complicated than that, because if it's true that Raiden can go ahead and identify himself from what he took away from the experience, wasn't he doing that all along through the whole game, even when he was playing as Snake, when he was calling himself the operator of the Snake? But he was still being manipulated, and he was still being used, and he's still being used after this.
Right.
Just because he gives himself his name, I mean, does that validate anything that's happened?
I mean, that's the thing is, like, after this, like, if for those of you that have played Metal Gear Solid 4, like, I mean, does any of this matter?
It kind of things go tits up for him.
This message at the end is almost like Kojima saying like he didn't want this to be at the end.
So Josh, would you say? Oh, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
Oh no, go for it.
Because this is the thing that makes the least amount of sense. How does Rose appear in the middle of Manhattan? When he crashed land in the middle of Manhattan and Federal Hall, which it's impossible to begin with, and then suddenly Rose is just there.
That's the dreamlike surreal part of it, I guess, is that like, is it real? Is it not? Does it matter?
Yeah, it's really like that Total Recall ending where he's like, this, is this a dream? And it says, doesn't matter, just hope I don't wake up. It's like, it's real to him, I guess. But what does that actually mean?
Why would he suddenly trust her? It just doesn't make any sense.
So Josh, if he is in a VR simulation through all this, what does that mean that he's made an identity for himself? Is he still wearing the goggles? Does he take the goggles off? Like where does that leave us?
I don't know.
It doesn't.
And she is pregnant.
If she's real.
Yeah.
I think even the VR theory is having a hard time explaining this. The only thing that makes sense is it doesn't make sense because it's a sequel to a sequel to a sequel, and Kojima's like, fuck you, I'm out. It's not supposed to make sense. Or B, Raiden is full on just hallucinating. He's tripping balls. He cannot distinguish fantasy from reality, either because he's crazy or he's been programmed, and the AI is still in his head, even though he's not filtering it through a codec. It's still there.
Right.
And that really complicates the whole thing of it's not whether or not it's real, but how you feel about it, your experience. What does that mean when he's falling in love with Rose? Like, he accepts Rose as a partner, and if she's not real, like, what does it say about reality?
Yeah, I think we're doing the opposite of what he said to do. Like, try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. And I'm going to really we're all going to get into this. We're going to get into this with our summary episode. It's going to be kind of like a podcast episode that we kind of go over all this. We're not going to be able to touch on everything because we're not going to be able, we don't have the time or the budget to do like a 2-hour conclusion. So it's going to be a real short wrap up, but we're going to touch on some of these issues. And I really think it's just that, and this isn't a term that gets thrown around, but it's just the idea that it's a postmodern game, that it's just talking.
So weird.
Yeah, it's schizophrenic.
It ends on a romantic note. It's just like we just had basically like an action, like weird psychological film. Like we were watching a psychological film, and then it turns into a romantic.
But is that
you're like, what? Like,
is that supposed to be ironic? Is it supposed to be like a comic ending in that sense? I guess
so, because listen to the music. Doesn't it sound like it's a romantic, like it's into a romantic film?
Well, it's supposed to be that Rose and Raiden walk off into the sunset.
Yeah, and she ends on, "This is for your ears only." It's just like,
like a James Bond movie or something.
Yeah.
But I really feel like that end is supposed to be Kojima being like, this ending is because he didn't really even want it to have that. He felt like that was something that the players needed. They needed a sense of an ending for them to be able to roll the credits, because he wanted to end it after Liquid jumps into the ocean. That's where he wanted to end it. So a lot of this stuff was for the player who was already frustrated and confused at this point. Imagine how much more confused we would have been if we didn't get all that. And I think he gave it to us not in the sense that it's supposed to make sense logically. I think it's just supposed to satisfy us emotionally, even if it's phony and fake.
Right, like you got closure.
Exactly.
Sort of.
But isn't that like the AI's lying to us and giving us something that we think that we want?
Man, I don't even think I don't like for that scene taking it what it was. There was no closure.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
No closure
it
at
still
all.
ends with like we're gonna go off and do more adventures that you weren't ever supposed to see because there wasn't ever supposed to be a sequel to this.
Well, it's like Raiden got he closed his story. Like he is Raiden, he accepts who he is. He's with Rose now, whether she's real or not. He accomplished what he set out to do. Like there is closure in that sense, but it's also like he said, is it real? Is it not? Does it matter?
But he wasn't like he was being used to kill Solidus, so that means the Patriots have full control again.
Right.
So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's no ending to that.
That's what I'm saying is that Raiden did this selfishly.
He chose that.
So that's why Metal Gear Solid 4 happens, is because the Patriots are still around. Because Raiden chose to identify himself rather than the greater good.
What a dickbag.
Yeah. One thing I will say though, and I'm trying to, is it going to happen right now? Is it going to cut me off?
Wouldn't you say that he gets punished for doing that?
Yes,
though?
he does. You're right.
He gets punished.
One thing I would say though, and this is one of the reasons why this game, that ending didn't make a whole lot of sense, is there's another meta level to that ending. That it's not necessarily talking to the player so much. It's definitely not meant for Raiden, but it's not entirely meant for the player. And I'm not talking about the whole ending. I'm just talking about that part with Snake giving the one-on-one motivational speech to Raiden. That was supposed to be Kojima talking to the production staff at Konami because he was retiring from the Metal Gear franchise, and he was expecting them to do Snake Eater without him. So that was supposed to be his, like, you can do it. He was supposed to be giving a farewell message to his production staff.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. He was telling his production staff, don't follow in my footsteps. Create Metal Gear Solid 3 in your own identity, in your own way. So it's kind of strange. Yeah, I know. And it's kind of tragic in that sense that he was forced to come back. He didn't want to come back for Snake Eater. And he definitely did not want to come back for Metal Gear Solid 4. That was a tragic turn of events in his point of view. And we're really going to get to that at the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 4.
I'm really happy you came back for Metal Gear Solid 3 because that is the fucking best.
That's true. But we're going to get to that in the conclusion episode because I have an interesting opinion that I want to explore with you guys. I don't want to really get into it now, but should Kojima have retired? Could you imagine? Because Josh, you would say that of like original gameplay and meta-textual piece of art beyond being a video game, this is the highlight of the series, right?
Yeah, so I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is the most brilliant game.
But that's as a game, just a game.
Most brilliant game.
Right.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is a brilliant piece of art, whereas Metal Gear Solid 3 is a brilliant game.
But the thing, and we'll explore this later, I really feel like Metal Gear Solid 3 is a concession to all the things that he denied us in this game.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later, but that's just like we're just bringing that issue to light. And so I feel like, Josh, I don't disagree with you, is what I meant to say. Snake Eater is hands down my favorite game in the series. But in the next episode, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say maybe Kojima should have quit at this game. So tune in for that one, guys.
But we wouldn't have had a Metal Gear Solid 3 or anything beyond that. So yeah, it would have been fine by me if he had stopped.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have been upset if there wasn't a Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah.
But imagine no Ground Zeroes.
Yeah, that's the downside. But I would have never known about a Ground Zeroes. It wouldn't even been a thing that would exist in my head. But like, I'm glad he didn't because we have Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain, which is probably gonna top Metal Gear Solid 3 for me. Oh, I should point something out too that is really silly. So in the interview, what is the DVD, the making of cinematic game, the interviews with Kojima and everything, he says that the inspiration for Raiden, like his character arc, was King Kong, and that the arc for Snake in this was Godzilla, because it's supposed to be that Raiden was a creature that was taken from the wild
and a monster who was humanized by a woman, Rose, whereas Snake was a man-made monster because he's a clone. And then they both have to, like, they have to resolve those issues.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And so I don't know if he was, entirely ingenuine, but there is an interview where he says that. And like the part, like in his mind, the meaning of the two of them at the end there was kind of like Godzilla versus King Kong. Man, fucking
Sean Eyestone, all the way back
Some
then. Jesus.
weird ass jazz
jazzing
happening
it
right
up
now.
here.
I guess Sean Eyestone's been with Konami for fucking ever.
Why was there
14 years at least.
Why was there a credit for Mei Ling? Did Mei Ling?
Oh, there was a credit for Natasha.
Romanenko?
For writing.
Did they play back some audio from Metal Gear Solid 1 that I forgot?
They've actually been slipping character names into the credits. So it said there was actually a credit that said in the Shadow of Shadow, or in the something of Shadow Moses, that book that she wrote. It actually credited it to her.
That's funny.
And it actually said Scott Dolph's name in there too.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I saw Scott Dolph.
Yeah. So I think that's supposed to be one of those meta jokes in there. I can't believe we're at the credits of this, guys.
Yeah?
This is fucking nuts. It took us 8 years to play this game.
Oh my god! It just keeps getting longer and longer.
And now we're going to start our second playthrough right now.
Big Boss Extreme. Can you do it, Dora?
I don't know. Maybe.
He's doing it one-handed blindfolded.
Oh god.
Speed run.
Hold on to your butts.
Life isn't just about passing on your genes. We can leave behind much more.
So that's the point. That's the point of Metal Gear 1.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Just kind of going through the.
And so this is like supposed to be Kojima's retirement speech, essentially,
Felt.
which is so weird thinking about that.
What would he be doing other than making games?
That's what I live.
Police Not 6.
We need to pass the torch.
He actually, instead of using stock footage, he actually did take his team down to New York and walk around with camcorders.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Those dicks.
Those ducks. Oh yeah, it's like the end of Metal Gear Solid 1 when it had like the bears and the salmon.
Yeah.
I think the idea is supposed to be that this entire time we've been looking at closed environments. Where just like in Shadow Moses was a closed environment, and seeing that there's nature outside of that. This is supposed to be the idea of we've been spent all this time in Arsenal gear and the big shell under the control of the AI and the Patriots telling us what is real and giving us information. And I think this is supposed to be like the breath of fresh air of seeing like, well, this is day-to-day life. You're stepping outside of the video game. Remember, there's a world outside of this screen, which I think is the implication, but it's also weird that it actually is still a video game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's still information that's being fed to us.
Snake, you there? It's me. I've finished going over that disc.
So it's not Ocelot.
Like after all that mess,
Yeah,
hang on a
that's
second.
weird.
There's yet another twist.
Data of 12 people. There was a name on it.
Oh yeah.
Snake, it was one of our biggest contributors.
What's going on around here?
Yeah,
Going on around.
this just doesn't make sense. It doesn't go anywhere.
We were right about them being on Manhattan, but
what?
they're already dead. All 12 of them.
When did it happen?
Well,
Well,
You can just see him pushing up his glasses. Bum bum bum.
what the?
What the fuck? Otacon, that just doesn't make any sense. It's just Snake going like, are you serious?
Oh, I killed
Fucking kidding me.
96 people.
Oh yeah.
For short.
For sure.
That's
I've
bloodthirsty
used 34
Dora.
rations.
Man, I can't believe that's another game down, guys.
Yeah.
It's weird to think because that game was such a roller coaster. That game was such a roller coaster in that it was like at times the worst game. It was the best at times and it was the worst at times. Elephant.
Oh, look at
Codename
that
Elephant.
cute little
Codename Elephant.
elephant.
So that means that if you were on Mother Base, that would be your name, Elephant.
Cool. I'm okay with that.
Hey, you obtained a new item.
Digital
Sweet
camera.
Well,
As I was saying, this was like, it was the best at times, it was the worst at times. It ends on such a high note. And it's like, it's weird to be finishing it up. But at the same time, we have Snake Eater to look forward to. Fucking Snake Eater, guys. It's
Yay.
around. It's coming. It's happening. And Josh is going to man the controller for that one.
Josh is going to have a boner through that game.
He's going to have
Yeah.
a full chub. But before we get out of ourselves, we are going to have a wrap-up episode. We're just going to, it's mostly going to be just giving our brief opinions of what we feel about this game, because there's so much to talk about. We couldn't just do it as all these cutscenes and shit were coming at us. Mostly it is going to be us giving our brief summary of how we feel the game, like the point of the game and whether or not it was successful. But it's also going to be some feedback from the comments and interactive things that you guys have done for us. So tune in for that. How did you guys feel about the game out there? What are your opinions? Was it the best in the series? Was it in the worst series? Was it just a fun mindfuck? Let us know. And we're going to see you next time. Thanks for sticking around for us this long. All you guys that tune in every week to check out our episodes. We love you guys. I mean, this is so much fun.
Yeah,
we just love it.
This is awesome.
So see us in our next episode where we sum up Metal Gear Solid 2. Then after that, fuck it, Snake Eater. So we'll see you, Josh.
Till next time.
And see you, Dora.
See ya.
We'll be back. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.